Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be making some music from Blade Runner 2049. Alright, so for today, I've actually got a request. First request on Patreon. So thank you very much, Merlin. This video is specifically for you. I hope everybody enjoys it, but especially you. I actually like both the films, but today we're going to be looking at music from the sequel. So like the big synthesizers and stuff like that from Hans Zimmer. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it today. We'll have some fun and see how we go. So for today, I've just opened up a blank session on Ableton. So we're not going to use our film scoring template that we usually use. We're just going to stick to like synthesizers today. So I'll show you guys how to create your own synths. We'll create some from scratch. We'll use some presets here that we already have in Ableton. And I did a video a little while ago on creating your own synth. I'll link that somewhere up here for you guys to watch as well. But we can go over some of that today as well. So let's just head over to here and we'll tap out a tempo. Let's start with that. Let's start with 80 and see how we go. Now we're just going to have a little playthrough, get a little bit of a foundation going, and then we can add layers in and make it sound really, really big and really cool. So first I'll switch over to this view for you guys. So just up in the right corner, you can change between this view and that view. This way you can see the MIDI notes going across, which will be a little bit more exciting for you guys. All right, let's give this a shot. Alright, there's our first version. I'm not really liking it, to tell you the truth, guys. So what we want to do is let's go over here to MIDI, and we're going to create our own synth. Because I really want like a slow attack in this synth. And I'll show you what I mean once we get to it. So let's create a new track here, and we'll call it Custom Synth Ryan Gosling. Alright, just so we know. Thanks, Ryan. And now this one is just a plain sounding synth. And just use your ear. So I don't really have like a go-to setting for any of this stuff. I just, use my ear. Use your ears as well. Trust your ears. I'm sure you guys have listened to a lot of music in your lives. Trust your ears. You don't have to go by like the exact number and everything like that. But I am going to have this session available. I'm going to have this session available on my Patreon for you guys to download, and you can have a play around with all the parameters yourselves and create something on your own as well. That'll give you guys a starting point. Alright, we're off to a good start here. So let's grab our original recording. Control, click and drag. We'll bring that down here to our Ryan Gosling track. And before I play it back, I just want to put some reverb on this guy. So let's continue. And now what we're going to do is we're going to play these together and try make one big sounding synth that sounds really cool. And the way you get that is by blending a few different synthesizers together. So let's record this again. And then we're going to use this as our bass, and then we're going to duplicate this recording onto multiple tracks and get a really big, cool sounding synthesizer. It's getting there, guys. Now I think we need something really low, just to ground it before we continue with this big sounding synth. We just want all those low frequency notes. Just want it holding that single note down the bottom. another little trick I like to do is we'll clone that, and we're going to call this sub bass. And now I just like to get a really low, just like a sub bass. Double click on him, drag that through all the way to the end. And all I'm doing for these ones is I'm just holding one note, and I'm placing it in a higher register. So we got so we have these atmospheric sounds kind of ringing around and adding layers, and so it doesn't sound like everything is just playing the exact same thing just on a loop. So we're playing around with octaves, but it's all basically one note. Okay, loop that through. I'm liking that octave. We need to go back to those lead synths and add a few more layers on that as well, to get it sounding really nice. I like the tone of this. Let's loop Mr. Ryan Gosling and see how this sounds. This one here has a few frequencies that I'm not liking, and it's kind of sounding a little bit muddy to me. Just around 110. So we're going to cut that. Alright guys, now I said earlier that we're not going to use an orchestra, but I think we might just at least use some strings. So I really like those top notes. And I think those with some strings would sound really nice. When you're scoring a movie scene, if it's a scene where there's maybe, it's a really small scene and it's maybe two characters, you might want your reverb really low. It's a little trick we try to do we try to replicate what's happening on camera. So if there's two characters in the scene and they're really close to the camera and it's some tight shots, you probably want your music to emulate that. So you'd probably want some really dry sounding instruments, really close, not too many, nothing grand, nothing huge. Depends what's happening in the scene. But if there's two characters just having some dialogue, you probably just want a couple of violins or a couple of woodwind instruments, or you want to replicate that. And then in the scenes that it's like a huge action sequence and it's very big wide shots and there's explosions happening, then you can afford to go add more instruments and add lots of reverb, and you want it to sound big. So you kind of, when you're film scoring, you want to emulate or kind of replicate with the music what's happening on screen visually. Alright, so now let's try these violins. So we'll call this track violins. Loop this up as a starting point and see how this sounds. I'm going to put reverb on these guys as well. Let's see if we can add in some kind of some more tension in this. Maybe we could add in some drums or add in some low rhythmic synthesizers. Guys, I've got a really cool idea. We can probably create something really cool here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring this guy to come in a bit later. And I have an idea to make something really big, like bring in some big drums and something like that, which could be pretty cool. Alright, I'm liking that. Let's check this in. right there, I want a nice kind of bass riff kind of synth. So put a marker in there. Alright, now let's go to our strings. Guys, I'm just having some fun here. And just kind of, as you add in each element and each layer, you'll just get an idea. So now I'm kind of hearing in my head some high violins just going dun, 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 dun. Awesome. Alright, so I'll call these Woodwind dives. And the way I do these is I kind of, so using your keyboard or using your controller, whatever you have, you pitch bend them and we'll get some dive bombs happening. Just to add a bit more of an atmospheric kind of sound. So now I think we can fix that tone a bit. Awesome, guys. I think that sounded pretty cool. Let's have a listen. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, this session will be available on my Patreon if you want to download it and have a little play around with it and do your own thing. Merlin, thank you again for your request. I hope you enjoyed this video. To everyone else watching, thanks again for watching. I appreciate all the support and I will see you in the next one.